Now, what if Ron Paul says, let's legalize drugs, and everybody starts using drugs? Do you think that would be a problem? If everybody's like, oh, hey, this is great. Now I can, have these drugs cheap and have a great time. Huh? And hey, let's all start using drugs. What would happen?
Then everyone would get addicted.
Well, maybe.
But they won't be beating people.
No, probably not. So
it's not expensive because it's all over the place.
But if we have freedom, don't you think we need to be responsible as well?
Yes.
Yeah. So the important thing to remember is freedom is the answer to problems when people are willing to be responsible for themselves. So that if you make a mistake of judgment in your life, you're willing to suffer the consequences of your bad decision. Right? Is that fair? You're free to do what you want, but you have to suffer the consequences of your mistakes. Right? So if drugs are legal and somebody starts using drugs and they go to work and they cause a problem and their boss fires them, is that okay for their boss to fire them?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want somebody working for you that uses a bunch of drugs and is a problem? No. So what's going to happen is the natural consequences of bad things will be a sufficient way to get people to realize, you know what? I probably shouldn't use drugs anymore, because if I use drugs, I'll probably lose my job. And if I lose my job, gosh, now I don't have money to buy food. Right? So, individual responsibility with freedom is the best answer. And that's what Ron Paul was teaching. But that whole crowd did not see the wisdom of Ron Paul. They saw him as somebody who wanted to use drugs, who wanted to make drugs a big problem, when in reality he had the solution. What do you think, Rachel? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What do you think, Jay?
I think it makes sense.
Ben, what do you think?
Makes sense.
Cool. How about you guys all tell the camera how you feel about drugs and what you advise other people about drugs. Jay, you go first.
I don't like using drugs because I could probably die or get ill or sick, like lung cancer from smoking and tongue cancer.
You could have bad health. Yeah? Or die. Did you know that Morton Downey Jr., during the debate, Ron Paul said, hey, smoking's one of the worst drugs in America. It's the most deadly. And, it kind of came up. And he's all, smoking through the whole thing and, thinking he's really cool. But he died of lung cancer at a very early age.
And when we were cleaning up Parkerville, we found some of these magazines, and like kids ones, like Jack and Jill or something.
Uh-huh.
And it would have Ask Dr. Corey, in some of them. They would write letters asking questions about health, and then she would write back. It would show what they wrote, and she said whenever someone breathes in the smoke, they breathe in lots of germs and diseases along with everything else.
Uh-huh. Yeah, drugs they're not very good for you. Ben, do you want to tell the camera?
I think about drugs.
Yeah, look at the camera and speak loudly and clearly.
I don't like drugs because they might make you die and get diseases, or can kind of control your brain a little bit. If I used it and then beat up Johnny without knowing it, and then I got a whooping, I wouldn't like that. It'd be all their fault, not mine.
Cool. Thank you for watching. Hopefully this has been of interest. Any last words for the camera, children?
Bye. Hopefully you understand what we're talking about.
Ben, any last words? Okay.
Mm-hmm.